Hello YouTube, this week I've got the keys to a 2018 Mazda 6. Let's take a look. Before I start, just want to ask you to please subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, like the video, and check out my other videos. I've got a ton of videos of new cars for you to take a look at. So this is the 2018 Mazda 6. New grille, new body lines, pretty cool looking car. This is a signature edition. It's got the 2.5 liter turbo engine. It's 210 horsepower on regular fuel, 310 pound-feet of torque at 2,000 RPM. And then if you've got, I believe it's 93 octane fuel, then you're going to get 250 horsepower out of it. Most of the power is down low, like that torque starts at 2,000 RPM and it just continues building up, but then you kind of run out of revs. Right at $6,000, it just dies on you. So it is that, but it's great for driving around town with a ton of torque. 6-speed automatic transmission, and there is a sport mode. It's a good looking car. It's a little bit smaller than, say, the Honda Accord and the new Camry, but it's a good family size sedan. Pop the trunk here and take a look inside. So the trunk is fairly large, lots of room. I've got my helmet here. We might take it out on the track. Quite a bit of space back here, and you pull on these arms here, and then that'll flip the seat down. So I'll go around the side and show what that looks like. So it's a good size trunk, good size opening. Come around the side here. And once you've pulled that handle, this just pulls down and flips down. You don't get a flat floor. Well, it's flat from, the transition is flat, which is good. It does kind of rise up like most of the cars in this category do. It's pretty similar design all around. Beautiful seats. It's got a dark brown leather interior with aluminum accents. Looks really great. Let's hop on in and check out the interior here. So center armrest, heated seats with 3 positions for both outboard seats here, and you've got a couple USB ports as well in there to charge, or for iPads or iPhones or whatever, or Android. So you've got that there. You've got some map pockets on the backs of the seats, power windows, wood trim. It's a good looking interior all around. Legroom is decent. It's actually quite substantial, except for the hump here. You do have this hump, which reduces space quite a bit. And it does have a sunroof. Take a look at that there. It's just a regular size sunroof. And then this is the view of the front here. You can see it's pretty nice, pretty snazzy up front, actually. So let's go up there and take a look at all the features up there. So I got this kind of turned on. You've got regular gauges on the right and left hand side of the interior here. The center is a digital screen, so this kind of squared off area where the center dial is, it's actually kind of square. There's a square screen there, which gives you the fuel remaining and the temperature gauge, or liters per 100 kilometers, as well as your temperature on the bottom. There's actually 2 fuel gauges here. You've got a fuel gauge on the right, which is your regular full to empty. And then you've got this fuel gauge here, which shows you how many kilometers are remaining. So mine's showing 428. And then you've got your odometer on the bottom. Trip in the middle, and there's an info button on the steering wheel, which will cycle through that. Trip A, Trip B, and then you've got distances and maintenance monitor. Whole bunch of stuff, pretty much like any vehicle these days. You've got a whole bunch of options in there, radio, navigation, and that. If you can actually turn it off and just see a needle, so it looks like a standard needle. That is digital. What's cool is when you set the cruise control, when you set cruise on here, you'll have a lighter colored needle that locks where the cruise is, which is kind of cool because that allows you to see where you've set your cruise versus your current speed. So I do like that. This car does have head-up display as well. Let me try starting it here. Foot on the brake, start it up. There's the head-up display, so it doesn't show unless it's running. Not sure if the camera will pick it up on this background I've got. It's a little bit light, but there's a head-up display there. It shows you a ton of stuff. Speed, cruise control setting speed. It'll show you stop signs. It'll show you blind spot monitoring, which the car has on the mirrors, but it'll also show up there. It'll show you maximum speed for that current road. ton of stuff like that. So that's kind of nice. It's got dual zone climate control. I'm sweating here, so I'm going to turn that on. Get the climate control, a little bit of AC going. Don't want the fan too loud so that it's not drowning me out. So there we go. And you can, you have dual zone there, as I said. You've got cooled seats as well. So, or ventilated, they call it. So that's cooling. Ooh, it's really cool, actually. They work awesome. Heated steering wheel, as well as heated seats, as well as those cooled. You've got your navigation and infotainment system up here, kind of jammed on. Looks pretty nice. Doesn't look stuck on this. It kind of looks in the dash. It doesn't retract, although it kind of looks like it could. The controls for that, Mazda's put them down here. So you've got your controls for that. So it's kind of hard to show both at the same time. But you've got, if I hit nav, and then that'll switch up to navigation up on the top there. And then, so you can flip through here. I'll just show you the screen. So home. And you can flip through the menus, and there's a bunch of settings. And let's go into settings here, and you can see you can change. This is your head-up display, and then you can have display on and off, and safety systems. There's a bunch of stuff you can set in here. 360 view monitor. So actually, I can show you that in a second. Auto display it. Let's turn that one on. I didn't even know that was a feature. So come back here, and there's a button on the left-hand side. Shows a little picture of a camera. So there's our 360 view of the car here, and then this is our front camera. And you can, if we put it in reverse, you'll see there's our back camera with our lines, and the lines don't move on this one, but you do have the lines there, and you have the lines in the front. So maybe they do move, and it's a setting I need to turn on. Not sure where that is, but I bet you there's a setting for that. There seems to be a setting for everything these days. It's just too much to put in a video. Yeah, so you've got that there. Pretty nice. Cup holders underneath this roller, which is pretty nice. Nice and deep. Like the roller, keeps it nice and clean, so nobody can see your kind of coffee mess in there. And you've got a little armrest, which is well padded, and it's got a couple of USB slots and a 12-volt battery slot as well. And this is, as I said, well padded. Seats are beautiful. Really do like the seats. This is kind of a suede material all through here. Really nice suede. And you've got, a little glove box there as well. I showed you the sunroof. We've got a sunroof up here. Sunglasses holder as well. And buttons for lights and that up here. And this is how you operate the sunroof. On the steering wheel, I already showed you the info through here. But we've got cruise control, radar cruise as well, so that'll keep your distance. And you've got Bluetooth as well on here. On the left-hand side, you've got your mirrors. I do like this dial, nice little dial to turn, left mirror adjust, right mirror adjust. And for power down, auto up. So auto down and auto up on all four windows on this one. So there we go. On the left-hand side here, you've got lane departure warnings and that, so you can turn on and off, and traction control, which you can turn off as well, and try that out if you want. There's a ton of torque, so you need that little bit of traction control to save you from wheel spin, especially if you've got low traction situations. There's a sport button, which will let the transmission, so we just flip that, it just says sport up here. It changes a few parameters, throttle response and transmission shifting and that. So it's, I didn't really notice a huge difference. I guess it'll hold the gears longer. But I switched between the two and whatever. It drives fine without it. You can put it in drive here, and you can put it in manual mode. If it's in manual mode and you use the paddles, so you can use up and down on the shifter, or you can use the paddles on the steering wheel, whichever you want to use. It won't shift if it hits red line. You'll basically, at 6,000 RPM, you'll just completely die from retardation on the ignition, so you'll have to upshift. So it's true manual in that sense, in that it won't be shifting for you in that case. You've got a little bit of cubby holes here. The piano black here gets pretty dusty. But besides that, it's pretty nice. I'm really, really impressed with the interior. This car is $38,000. And as you see it here, a 38.8, I think it's all 39, let's say, plus taxes. They're about 45 out the door, probably a little bit less than that, 43 maybe out the door. And you get a pretty nice looking car, which does have a ton of features on it. So out on the road here, I'm up at Calabogie Motorsports Park, so a little plug out to them because they give me time on the track sometimes. I'm going to take it out of sport mode. It definitely does hold the gears a little bit longer in sport mode. So we're just coming out the road here. So this road is kind of fun. It's a little bit of couple of bumps in it. Nice and curvy road. Very little traffic, which makes it even more fun. But you can definitely have fun in a car like this around here. And the bumps, you know, I drove it on some rough pavement this week, and you drove it on the highway, super quiet. So I'm driving now about 80 kilometers an hour, and sixth gear, it's at like 1800 RPM or so. And so it will keep the revs low, and you put your foot in it, and it just kind of pulls along. It really does pull quick. The car is pretty darn fast, actually. It's a little deceiving because of the torque, so you'll feel it pull you, but you won't realize how fast the speedometer is going up. It's really creeping up quickly. Brakes are pretty good on it. It's, you know, for a sedan, they're pretty good. A couple laps on the track, and they held up. So, you know, I was taking it a little bit easy because I didn't want to get the tires too scrubbed in or the brakes completely wasted on this thing. But it drove really well. Quite surprised with it, as I'll say, this car handles really well for a family sedan, and it's fun to drive, and it's quiet, and it's pretty darn luxurious inside. So there you have it. That's the 2018 Mazda 6 Signature Edition, about $39,000 MSRP plus freight, PDI. Actually, freight and PDI, I believe, are in there. Mid-size sedan. Beautiful interior, really love it. Love the torque pull. Suspension, Mazda's always been great on suspension. Surprisingly handles well. Took it out for a lap or two on the track. Had a passenger with me. He thought the car was going to flip, kind of scared him, but for me, it drove how this type of car in this class should drive. Really sporty, fun to drive, even though it's it's just a family sedan. It's more than capable on the street. That's for darn sure. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to my channel.